Okay, got the quarter panel screwed in through the jam about where it needs to be. The body line, like the other quarter panel right here, is not as sharp as the door, just like the other side. Difference in this side from the other side is where the driver's side was too long, this quarter panel is too short. So there's I didn't have to cut it and make it shorter down here. This is actually a lot shorter than the other side, and there's a pretty good gap down here at the bottom. It's a little tight down at the bottom compared to the top. I'll change that once I start tacking it in. I'll be able to move that in. One of the big things is, as you can see in the camera right here, the dip in the quarter panel doesn't match up to the door right here. They didn't, as far as I know, they didn't. It looks like that when they stamped it, it didn't get stamped good enough right through here. So I'm gonna make a relief cut in the jam and hammer and dolly that more so it matches the door. And I can't really get it up any higher because it's already too short down here, and the body line is about where it needs to be on the bottom and the top. So it's going to be just a little off. Once I start hammering and dollying that, I may be able to get it up just a little bit more, but it's basically going to be what it is, because I can't change how the metal was stamped right there. Everywhere else it's fitting up pretty good. Other than up here at the top, I'm going to have to clamp it inside to pull it together right here, and I'm going to have to hammer and dolly the top down to be able to weld this up. It's about where it needs to be, but it'd be nice if it was just this way towards the back more and in. But other than that, everything else is lining up pretty good. Once this piece is fitted up here, there is a pretty good gap to have it straight with the trunk. It's going to have to sit about like that right there. So I'm going to have to cut and extend the quarter panel out some to get that right, because even if I brought the quarter panel back, it's going to change out here also. So it only needs changed right here. It's actually just where it was folded and spot welded on the inside. They probably just folded it in the wrong position, and it's needed to be extended out about right there. Lines it up good with the trunk. So if I have it like that, it is angled. As you can see, it's angled in, so it gets real close to the trunk. But if I cut it and bring it out some, it's hard to do with one hand. It's going to keep it straight and keep it aligned with the trunk. So that's what I'm going to have to do on that. The inner panel that I put in, that new, is a little too long, which that's good. I'd rather cut the excess off than it be too short. But gives plenty enough to weld onto, and I'll cut the excess off. But yeah, that's how the quarter's fitting on this side. The biggest part is that right there. I'm not sure how that's going to start coming out when I hammer and dolly it, but I'm going to make a relief cut in it right here, because if I start trying to hammer and dolly up to this edge, it's not really going to want to form the way I want it to form without making a cut here so the metal can go away from itself, because it's rolled around the corner. But yeah, I'm going to start doing that, and a few other places I got to clean up to weld, like out through here, clean the black off of it. yeah, that's where we're at. Next time I video, I'm gonna try and have it all spot welded in. Okay, guys, been busy today. Ain't filmed anything. Actually, forgot to have Brad go over what he done today before he left. Just been busy getting this quarter panel straightened out and all welded in on the Mustang 65. I think in the last video I took of it, I was telling you about how tight it was down here at the bottom, how much of a gap it had down here from where it was stamped too short. What I did is, you can see right through here is where they had the bend in it from factory. The quarter panel, that when it came, it had the bend in it right there, so it had that big gap. So what I did is I hammered and dollied it flat, and then took the hammer and dolly and made it bend. It's about a 1/4 inch lower. That way it butted up real nice against the rocker panel and didn't have a big gap. This will get seam sealed, of course. It don't get welded through here. It didn't quite flatten out as good right here. It still has a little roll to it, but that'll be okay. Seam sealer, you won't never see that. I did have to do a little bit of work to the door to get this gap right, because I couldn't move the jamb in that way, which the factory quarter was pretty tight down here at the bottom too. So I worked the door, got it, the body line, the jamb line, whatever. I can't think of the damn what I'm wanting to say through here, but I got it looking pretty good. I've got it all welded in the wheelhouse, which I've ground them down, because even though they don't stick out very much, I don't want them sticking out at all, so I grinded them down. Out through here, it don't matter. I'm not going to grind them. I'm not going to grind these here, just through here, and the door jamb, I grinded them. You can see the spot welds out through there. Inside the wheel weld, that's gonna get seam sealed. I'm gonna clean this up some more and seam seal this crack. And then got it all welded out through here. I've got some stuff coming from the paint supplier. Instead of using, they normally just tack these from a factory and then smear them full of lead. I welded it straight all the way out through here, and I'm going to use some stuff I'll go over with coming from the paint supplier. I'm not going to fill this with just Bondo, because then you are just asking for trouble on that. But I talked about how right here wasn't dipped down and flat to meet up with the door. It from how they stamped it, it had a big roll. It rolled up, so I hammered and dollied that back out, and you can kind of see by the shadow that it's the same as the door. So that works out pretty good. I'll still have to swipe a little bit of filler there just to. I'm not. I can do pretty good with the hammer and dolly, but I can't do like these metal shaper guys and get it to where they don't need any filler. They're really good at that. I don't spend that much time working metal to get it that good, but it's where I need it now, so that's pretty good. I don't know if you've seen where I had it laid up here before I had done any welding, but it had a pretty good gap right here. This quarter panel was sitting down. I got it up where it needs to be, and it sits all flush out through there. Crack is the quarter to trunk crack is pretty good. I'm wanting to call it something different, but I can't think of the damn name to save my life. But I'm calling it the crack. It is the crack. But it looks all right. It's about the same as the other side. But on this side, the piece that's going to kick out and match the trunk, this quarter needs to be out like this. This is okay. This it fits up against here good. I would show you, but it's hard to do with just one hand. But I'm going to have to drill these spot welds, flatten this flange out, and bend it at an angle down and re-tack weld it just to basically extend this out some on the inside to get the end cap to fit flush with the trunk and the end of the trunk. I'll try and set up the camera and show you what I'm talking about in the morning. But other than that, everything else looks good on this quarter panel. It is pretty much fully welded in. So I've moved on to a little bit of rust that was in the lower part of the door over here. I've cut it out. We might make a patch panel in the morning, weld it in. And I went ahead and cut the rust out on the rocker on this side, and I'm going to make a patch panel and weld it in the morning also. And I don't know if I showed welded this side of this quarter. It's all welded in also. But yeah, looking pretty good. Got the quarters in now, and before long I'll be doing the body work and getting it in primer and everything. So good to go. I guess I could show a little bit of what Brad has done over here. He's got the downpipe tacked up and routed down there through the tight space he's got. Got the little muffler resonator welded, tacked on the bottom. He's got the cold side piping all done on this side. You can see it routes up through here. You can see the muffler welded in there. Got a V-band flange out here so the tip can be removed, and that can come can come up through the engine bay. There will be a exhaust hanger from the frame down here that I attach to support the weight off of the turbo. He's got the hole cut out for the tip to come out through the bumper. So he should get that knocked out tomorrow. He hasn't bolted up, but he's got the bracket for the power steering made. Yeah, that's about what he's been working on today, is the exhaust for that in the cold side. So tomorrow I'll get with him and go over what he does tomorrow, and yeah, I'm gonna shut the garage up tonight. I'll see y'all in the morning. All right, I got the welds all grinded down where I welded the quarter to the sail panel, roof, whatever you want to call it. Got the patch panel in on the door that had a little bit of rust down there. On the other side, I went ahead and grinded the welds up at top, and I got the patch panel put in at the rocker, and they brought me the stuff I'm going to be putting instead of lead in the quarter panel. I've never used it before. It's called Z-Chrome, Z-Glass. So I'm going to mix some of that up and spread it and see how that works. All right, I've got that Z-Glass or whatever spread. It spreads, I mean, it spreads about like Bondo does. This is just one coat here. Didn't want to get it real thick. I'll get it a little bit better on the second coat, but it seems to harden up really hard. It's probably going to be a pain to sand, so that's another reason why I didn't want to put a lot here, but man, it's really bright green color. Went ahead and had a little extra of what I mixed up, and I put it down in the patch panels. I fixed back here where I was telling you that it wasn't at the right angle. Got it looking good, fitting good. Massaged this a little bit, that way it lines up with the deck lid better. I adjusted the deck lid a little bit in to get this gap a little bit tighter. Sprayed the Z glass on this side and up at the top where that dent was at the top that I pulled out a couple weeks ago. Got the rocker spread and just had a little extra and spread it there too. So I'll probably sand it in the morning and put another coat on it. That way, I'm trying to think. I probably won't sand this down and get it ready for primer just yet. Maybe just the spots and put some primer on it, just on the bare metal, just so it won't try and surface rust out here. But I got to get back on the Nova that's in the booth, block it and get some more primer on it to get it ready to paint, so I can get that thing out of here. And Brad just left. He had been working all day on the Coyote swap car. He got the exhaust all done. Got the bungs in it down there for the O2 sensors. Got it wrapped. See here, he's got the hose on for the radiator. The cap is really close to the cold side up here. If I ever have to take it out, probably be best to unhook this, get it out of the way when you need to add fluid or whatever. It's kind of a bad design, having the cap on here instead of having like an expansion tank or something. It's going to have an overflow, but I'm used to like the Cobra over there has got the big expansion tank above the radiator. That would be right here. I kind of like that better than the cap in the radiator hose. He's got had to get a different fitting, so the line going from this fitting to the overflow tank is the same. It had two different sizes, so he got a fitting today for it. Got the teardrop out the bumper. Got it looking pretty good. I'm used to a lot bigger. This is 3-inch, mine's 4-inch, so it looks a little bit different to me, but I think it turned out really good. He's got it all wrapped to the V-band, and then just the little tip here, be able to take the V-band loose there. He's got it on a hanger, slide the hanger off of it that way, and be able to take the whole downpipe all together at once. It's got made a little bracket for the hanger up top, bolts through. Made basically I would say a bracket, but it's basically an aluminum plate that holds the ECU so it don't dangle around. So yeah, he been busy today knocking that out. Tomorrow he's really going to be doing a lot of little things. I guess I could go up underneath of it and show you. I don't have a light on here, so turn it around this other way. Here shows the turbo drain. The lowest spot is where it goes into the oil pan now. It don't sag down and then go back up. And then he put heat wrap around it, just where it's so close to the hot side and everything. Don't try and burn the oil drain, the hose for sorry. So don't burn the oil drain hose, which is the exhaust is the hot side is wrapped too, but just another safety measure so nothing happens. from this angle, you can see where the fan was clearanced a little bit. It's got heat protective on it. That way there's no chance of it melting any of the plastic or anything like that. See just how close it is to the fan over here for the exhaust and to the hot side going to the turbo. It was real tight in this area, but he made it fit down through there real good. The fan shroud worked out really good. He's got the lower radiator hose wrapped up too, just so it don't have any complications of getting hot or anything like that. So cold side and blow off valve up through there. Bumper's going to have to be took back off because the support isn't on it yet. Team Z bumper support. He's got to put in a block to put the, sorry, he was staring at my hand. He's got to still put the block in for the oil pressure sensor, the factory one, to hook up to the control pack, just so it sees that and don't have no issues of running or anything like that. Not sure if it would cause any issues, but it's up there unplugged, and gonna plug that up, make sure that there's no issue there. It's got the clutch cable is pretty close to the header on this side, so we got some heat wrap that's going to go around it just to protect it. I believe he hasn't put the adjustable cable and quadrant in it yet. Got a drive shaft coming. This one is too short now that we moved everything up forward. It had been cut down also, so that one's not going to work, but a stock 0304 Cobra shaft is on its way. Should be here tomorrow. Team Z K member, if you needed any Team Z parts, private message me, send me a text or call my telephone number, and I'll get you hooked up with some Team Z parts. The bumper support going out here on the outside is Team Z also, which he had already had this K member and everything, but I got him hooked up on the bumper support. Actually, I don't think he bought that through me. No, I don't think I was set up yet. But anyway, he can not he, but you can get with me anytime on Team Z parts. Also, I'm a distributor for quite a few companies. Just give me a shout out on what you're looking for, and I may be able to get it for you at a decent price. Just let me know. I got the hookup on quite a few companies in that regard. But he's still got to paint this bracket and mount it. Let's see here. Something else. Oh yeah, he's got to wire the fan switch in. So it works like factory. Mounting the coolant reservoir. There was something else up here that he was going to do that I'm missing. Oh yeah, the alternator wire. He's got a bigger gauge alternator wire that the owner wants to put on here. The person that wired it had a wire that was really tiny, which I think I've mentioned it before. I'm not sure if it would cause any issues. He says it wouldn't, but the owner wanted it changed to a bigger gauge wire, just to be on the safe side, because I'm not too sure about that size wire either. But the guy that does wiring for a lot of these cars, he said it was fine, that he's used it on cars before. So I'm just not sure on that, but that's going to get changed, and that'd be about it. Can't think of much of anything else other than I gotta take these supercharged emblems off his car for him. You don't want them, but yeah, that's where we're at on everything. Just got done mowing, so I put the lawnmower in there. I'm gonna push the coupe car back over there. So that'll do it for today. I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, so Brad's about got this thing all wrapped up. No pun intended. He's got everything wrapped that needs to be wrapped. He's got the bracket up here for the power steering reservoir. Got the bracket made for the coolant reservoir. Got the coolant reservoir hose hooked up. Got the fan switch all wired in. Got the O2 sensors changed out to where they're supposed to be and extended. Got the front bumper back on. Got the Team Z bumper support back there. Got his little wire mesh put in the back like he wanted. Get down here, and he wrapped the cold side pipe over here just because it's so close to the radiator hose and wastegate and everything. Wrapped some lines back here for power steering, clutch cable. He put the adjustable clutch cable in quadrant. No, it didn't get a quadrant, did it? Just firewall.
Yeah, that's quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2? Okay, quadrant, firewall, and the cable is all adjustable. He was the oil level. Did you say the oil level sensor was hooked up? You just
No, it wasn't hooked up.
It wasn't.
I run the wires down and
hooked it up.
And
He put the pressure sensor for the control pack. It is hooked up now with a. It's a tight fit up in here, but he's got a couple T's and elbows to get it and the gauge pressure sensor hooked up, so they both should work. Let's see here. You just put the exhaust tip back on. I think everything else I pretty much showed y'all last night. The drive shaft came, and it's about 2.5 inches longer. The shaft was riding. This was the one that was in it. It was actually supposed to only been. There's a tape on it that's supposed to only been shortened 1.25 inches, and for some reason it got shortened 2.5 inches. So it was only in the transmission. It was riding about right there before the engine was moved forward. So the engine moved forward right at 1 inch. So shoot, it may not have even been able to touch the inside of the transmission. So got another drive shaft. This drive shaft looks to be it's not a factory 0304 Cobra shaft. It looks like somebody's just had it made. It's got the Cobra output yoke. It's got the bigger U-joint size, but the small GT style size other U-joint for goes to the shaft. And then at this end, it has the U-joint size that the GT has, a smaller size on the shaft, and for the plate that mounts to the rear end. This shaft that was in the car has the universal U-joint that has the big end, the big Cobra size like that right there, and the GT size. Well, we was just going to take, I'm getting ahead of myself. The drive shaft that came today was missing a cap, and we was going to just take one of these caps off and put on this U-joint because it looks pretty new, and just put it back together. But this cap, take it off here, this cap size is different, as you can see. So that's not going to work. So we're going to have to go out and get a U-joint just like this to go in here to be able to put the flange back to be able to put this shaft in. but he's getting the headlights put back in it now. Get the U-joint, right U-joint and the shaft put in, and the turbo blanket should be here in the next day or so, and I believe that's going to be the last thing that this thing gets. All right, so the Coyote swap car, it is all done except for the turbo blanket. When it comes in, put it on and it'll be ready to go. Got the drive shaft up in there, all tightened down. Front bumper back on, headlights back on. Yeah, things should be ready to go. Still not sure why it won't start up and run, but we're not going to dig into that. It's going to RPG to get tuned, and I reckon they're going to run the vacuum lines and boost controller, and do all the parts of getting it running. We were just supposed to do like I've told you, that's all we were supposed to do, the fab part of it, cold side exhaust. Ended up having to move the engine forward, but other than like trying to get it running or anything like that, not sure why it won't run. I mean, it's got the later model intake on it. It's got a control pack. Not too sure why it won't start up and run just like it is. From what we're thinking, it should, but said not totally positive on why it won't. But it'll fire up and then idle for just a second and then die. So RPG, I reckon, is going to handle that. So when the turbo blanket comes in, I'll slap it on there and she'll be ready to go. I've been doing the body work on where I welded the quarters in on the 65. Pretty much got it real close. Just did one swipe up there on the top of the Z glass. I'm going to put some filler in it tomorrow. Rocker's in good shape. That little dent in the door's in good shape. This side over here is going to need a little bit more blocking, and I may need to swipe it one more time. But that's going to need a little bit more. But this 65 is getting pretty close. Once I move that out of the garage tomorrow, I'm going to get the coupe car in here, and this weekend going to start on the engine bay of it. And yeah, keep on knocking them out. Toyota parts, I pretty much got all the Toyota parts I need to start putting it back together. So yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow.